Ecumenical councils are acknowledged to be authoritative by both Catholics and Orthodox. And we both acknowledge whatever the criteria are for discerning a true from a false ecumenical council. That's not the point at this moment. We'll talk about that some other time. But the point right now is we both accept the Fifth Ecumenical Council as a legitimate ecumenical council. And even if you think that things were happening at the Fifth Council which were unwise or we shouldn't be proud of, the reality is it is still recognized by both of us as an ecumenical council. So we need to focus down on that particular issue, which is that the things that are stated by the council, however they were produced, are carriers of the authority of an ecumenical council. So at the Fifth Council, the Second Council of Constantinople, there was a controversy because Pope Vigilius was an advocate of the orthodoxy, Christologically speaking, of a document called the Three Chapters. Justinian and the Eastern bishops were not advocates of the orthodoxy of that document. Now, there was a whole drama that went on here, and I agree, it was in some respects distasteful. But let's focus on the main point, which is that this is an ecumenical council. And we acknowledge, because of that fact, that it was under, in some strange way, the direction, providence, and ordering of God. Please don't comment about, about the other issues in this video, because I don't want to distract from the main discussion. And here's the principal point. Vigilius invoked his Petrine authority in order to justify his acceptance of the orthodoxy of the Three Chapters. Now, the council responded in these terms. It stated that Vigilius needed to follow, quote, the great examples left us by the apostles, who did not make a formal ruling, quote, until gathered together. Nor is there any other way in which the truth can be made manifest, since each one needs the help of his neighbor. And in Ecclesiastes, Solomon says, two are better than one. Now, this is a huge problem for Roman Catholic teaching, because Roman Catholic teaching is extremely clear that conciliarism is false, that the Pope can act unilaterally, independently of the council, with complete and total authority. And that is not something which belongs to the council. It might be wise to convoke an ecumenical council, but it's not, strictly speaking, necessary. If he renders a judgment, even if the council opposes it, that judgment is final. But the Fifth Ecumenical Council acknowledges ecumenical bias both. Not only contradicted Vigilius's invocation of Petrine authority, but it provided a very specific and direct reason for that rejection. And the reasoning which the council leaves us directly undermines that which Rome teaches, not as something that should probably be held, not something which it would be nice to hold, not something which most Catholics hold, something which we must hold, or else we fall under the anathema, because this is a specifically defined doctrine of Catholicism. So if this doctrine is false, and we agree that ecumenical councils are authoritative, and given the principles of logic, we can't have two infallible statements contradicting each other, if this is false, then, quite honestly, Catholicism, defined in terms of the whole body of Catholic dogma, is false. And that's what the Fifth Council says, because the Fifth Council says that the truth cannot be made manifest, except in a collegial context, specifically in response to the invocation of papal authority. An ecumenical council of the Church recognizes such a way. Rome says that two are better than one. Each one needs the help of his neighbor. That the Pope cannot do what he just did because the apostles did not set that pattern. They waited until they were gathered together in a council. Nor is there any other way in which the truth can be made manifest. I'm being repetitive because this is an essential point. And I don't think that there's a way to escape this. There's a lot of focus on Honorius. It's an interesting and important issue. I think this is much more serious because it not only rejects a papal decree, but it provides the ecclesiological logic undergirding the possibility of that rejection. And in its provision of this logic, it directly contradicts what Rome has bound as infallible. Well, if it is in fact fallible, then Catholicism as a dogmatic system cannot be true. That's why I can't be a Catholic.